Hey everyone, Simon here with Top Tennis Training, and in this video I want to show you 10 different ways that you can improve your tennis on your own. The first 6 methods will require your racket, some balls and a tennis court. And the last 4 methods will include an additional piece of equipment such as the ball machine or using a wall. So method number 1 is working on your serve. Now this doesn't mean just going out and hitting hundreds of serves with no goal, with no purpose in mind. This means going out and working on specific elements of your serve. Let's say you're working on your kick serve, using correct drills that will help you achieve a better kick. Let's say you're working on your consistency and getting a higher first serve percentage. This means going out and working on those drills that will make you more consistent, or methods that will make you more consistent. So working on your serve is the best way, in my opinion, to improve your game on your own, and this should be done by all players. I don't care what level you're playing at. If you're a professional all the way down to a beginner, you have a court, get out and work on your serve. There's no excuse. Now I'll leave a link to a few serve videos down below that will have some serve drills that you can go and work on your serve right away if you have access to a court. Method 2 is working on your footwork. Now we all know how important our footwork and our movement is on the tennis court. We all know that we need to split step. We all know that we need to recover in the most efficient way. But how often do you actually go out and work on your footwork on your own? How often do you go and do your split step drills? How often do you go and do your recovery drills? All of these things can be done on your own. They don't even require a tennis court or a tennis racket. You can do this in your own house, you can do this in your garden or in your living room. So it requires very little space. And once again, we have a few videos that I'll link below, so you can go and check out some of those footwork drills and start using them right away. Method 3 is now self-feeding. Now this sounds quite funny, but instead of having a ball machine feed you the ball or a coach feed you the ball, you're simply dropping the ball on the spot. You're working on your technique, you're working on your strokes, but self-feeding. Now there are so many ways that you can use this self-feeding. There's so many variations that you can work on to improve your game, and let's cover a few right now. So deep cross, short one down the line. Deep cross, high over the net, short one down the line. Method 4 is working on your serve patterns of play. So this will be the serve plus 1 on your own. Now this could be as simple as hitting a slice serve out wide on the deuce side and then feeding yourself a shorter ball that you can attack into the open space. Once again, there are so many serve set plays that you can master on your own. You don't need a coach, you don't need a partner, you don't even need a ball machine. All you need is a few balls and your racket out on the court. So there's no excuse for not working on these serve set plays on your own. Method 5 is working on your coordination. Now what exactly is coordination? You'll see some pros. Federer does it, Nadal does it, Djokovic does it. They work on catching balls and reacting to different balls, and this is just simply catching and holding the ball, throwing it back to their coach. They also do this with the feet, so they're working on their hand-eye coordination with catching, and they're working on their foot-eye coordination when they're kicking the ball. So something as simple as your coach rolls your football and you have to stop it and then kick it back. It might sound very simple, it might look very easy, but actually many players neglect working on their coordination and it actually costs them. Now if you're someone who is very coordinated, if you can control the different segments of your body, if you're aware of the different segments of your body, and if you have good hand-eye coordination, learning tennis becomes much easier. And it's something that I always work on with my students. It doesn't matter what level they play at, total beginner up to players who are playing at the ITF level. I always start the session with a bit of coordination work, and this is something that any player should be working on, even on their own. So the first drill, all you'll need is 2 balls, you'll need a bit of space, you'll need a surface that will bounce the ball, allow the ball to come up. You're going to stand in that ready position, so your wide athletic base, and you're going to just simply bounce both balls at the same time and try to keep going for as many reps as you can. So simply bounce and catch on the spot with both balls at the same time. Now I'm not watching one ball in particular, I'm looking more in the middle of both balls, and out of the side of my eye I'll be able to see both balls and I'll be able to react to both of them. Once you get better, you can start doing this, catching at the same time, and you can throw it higher, you can throw it lower, play around with it. But there's first drill, just this, and then the next progression would be catching it in the air like so. The second drill is now bouncing one ball off your racket like so, and one ball you're going to bounce off the ground. Now this is a bit more challenging because you'll have to really focus on the hand to actually hit the ball, and at the same time catch that second ball. Now it'll be easier with your stronger hand, but when you change hands and you do it with your weaker hand, which is very important to also do, don't just work on your stronger side. If you're right-handed, that means your right side. Also work on your left side. So now I'm going to try and do it with the left hand. Now this side is much harder for me, but if I slow it down a bit, I'll be able to get quite a few reps in. Those are 2 simple coordination drills that you can do on your own with very little space. You can even do this in your own living room. Method 6 is shadow swings. Now we can break this down into shadow swings for purely technique, shadow swings for creating racket head speed, and shadow swings with some footwork as well. So let's take a look at the first one. If you have access to a mirror, let's say you have a mirror in your house and you have enough space to actually see what exactly you're doing with your stroke. If I'm working on my forehand, if I'm trying to get a little bit of a different swing with my forehand, having that mirror in front of me and actually analyzing exactly what I'm doing in real time will be a huge benefit. You could also do this setting up with a phone, if you can see the screen, or an iPad or something like a tablet. So in terms of technique, when you're working on changing technique, shadow swings is one of the most effective ways for you to change your technique in a short amount of time. Because you can have so many reps in a short amount of time, you can then do hundreds every single day. Now if we're looking at simply technique, let's say I'm focusing on getting more of a shoulder turn with my backhand. All I do in front of the mirror would be simply split step, coil, split step, coil, split step, coil. And I would do that hundreds of times until I feel like that has been mastered. Now if you're looking at improving your racket head speed, it will be slightly different. Instead of just simply working on the technique, now I'm focusing on my technique, but I'm also focusing on hearing a swoosh sound as I swing through the contact zone. So it would be like this. You can hear that swoosh. If I'm too slow with the racket head, you'll hear a very slight swoosh, and if I'm extremely slow, you'll hear nothing. But as soon as I speed it up, now you can hear that swoosh sound. And if you're going for racket head speed, this is what you want to focus on. Swinging your racket as fast as you can while still maintaining good technique. And if we look at the third option, which is shadow swings with a bit of footwork, this is great for improving your footwork while still having a racket in your hand and still focusing on your technique. So let's say I'm working on my slice backhand. All I'm going to do now is imagine that I'm running out to a wide backhand. So I've got that split step position. I'm going, I'm hitting my slice, and I'm recovering. So there, here, and recovering. And I can do hundreds of these in, once again, a very short amount of time, focusing just on the footwork pattern, focusing just on my technique. So shadow swings is one of the best ways that you can improve on your own with very little space and with nobody to help you. Now, method 7 is now using a ball machine. Now the ball machine, I prefer using the ball machine over a wall or even over some coaches who feed me, simply because I can do 2 things really well with the ball machine. The first thing I can do is I can set the same type of ball over and over again, so I can have the almost identical shots time and time again. So let's say I'm working on dealing with a high backhand. I can set the machine to fire balls at me in that way that I'll have to deal with those high backhands hundreds of times over and over again without many variations between the feeds. If you have someone feeding you, unless they're a really good feeder, you'll see differences ball to ball. But with the ball machine, you can have almost the same ball time and time again. For myself, when I was working with the ball machine, one of my favorite drills and something that I always used to work on would be working on those low volleys. And I'd set the ball to actually bounce inside the service box. I'd be behind the service box and I'd just be working on picking up those low volleys hundreds of times over and over again until I feel like I couldn't miss a low volley in a match. The other reason why I prefer the ball machine over, let's say, the practice wall is you actually see the ball coming towards you. You can track the ball from the machine all the way to the point of contact. This is a massive benefit over, let's say, hitting against the wall, because the ball flight is obviously compact, or feeding on your own, so self-feeding. This is why I prefer the ball machine. It's one of the best ways for you to improve, and I've made an entire video on ball machine drills, and I'll leave the link to that video beneath this one. The next method is using a practice wall. Now, a practice wall, it doesn't have to be a tennis wall, it doesn't have to be on a tennis court, it can be in your garden if you have access to the wall, it can be in your driveway, it can be in the park, wherever you can find a wall that you can train against. There are so many drills that you can do using a wall. Now, we have a few wall training drill videos, and I'll leave the link to those as well beneath this video. Method 9 is using a rebound net. Now, here in the UK, we had all the courts closed for around 2 months, and during that time I got bored of doing shadow swings, I got bored of doing coordination, I got bored of doing my just my fitness routine, so I bought myself a rebound net, and it's a great tool to use to work on your volleys. I found it didn't work so well when I'm hitting against the ground strokes, let's say my backhand and my forehand, but what it's great for is working on a lot of volleys, a lot of repetitions in a very short amount of time. So I could do easily 500 balls against the rebound net in a very short amount of time. 15 minutes it took me to do 500 volleys. You could also work on your feel with the rebound net. And method 10 is getting stronger, getting fitter, and getting faster physically, becoming a better athlete. This doesn't require going to the gym. This doesn't require having a bunch of equipment. You can do this simply at home with your own body. This could be body weight exercises. This could be going out jogging. This could be doing intervals on the court, doing sprints. There are so many ways that you can get in better shape for tennis without having any gym equipment, without doing anything in the gym. All you'll need is your will and your effort and the ability to work hard on your own. Now, we have an entire fitness course, and I'll also leave the link to that course below this video if you want to go and check it out. We have over 300 videos, 300 exercises that focus on all different areas of the body. This includes exercises in the gym and also exercises with resistance bands, but also a bunch of body weight exercises, so you don't need to have access to the gym. You can do that simply at home. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you get notified whenever we release a new video. There's no point in being subscribed to the channel if you don't have that bell switched on, because YouTube won't tell you when we've released a new video. Please share this video with anyone who would benefit from watching it as well. The more people who see our videos, the more people we can help improve their game wherever they are in the world. It also helps us to grow the channel, and it helps us to make better quality content in the future. Signing off, Simon from TTT. All the best, and see you soon, guys. Stay safe and stay healthy.